don't send your movie to a distribution company unless you watch this video. When finishing your movie, you have several options. You can put it out yourself. You can go through a distribution company, or you can do a theatrical, get a movie theater. What you don't want to do is send it to a distribution company. Why, you ask? Well, a distribution company basically takes your movie, holds onto your movie for 10 years or more, takes all of the money. You don't see a dime unless you see maybe over $100,000. Unless the movie gross over $100,000. So, would you bet that, hey, my movie is going to gross over $100,000 and I can start seeing some money? Or you're like, you know what? I'm going to better myself and get all the money. All the money when I put it out goes to me. Which one is basically, that's the decision that you need to make. What I did for one of my movies, I went through a distribution company. They took all my money. They sent me the stats. I made $50,000 from that movie over the course of, I would say, 2 years. I made $50,000. So that's $25,000 a year. They sent me a check for $20. They came up with all this whole, fine print stuff where, hey, we're taking half of the money, but the other half is being used because we got to make up for marketing it. We got to make it up for all these other things that they really don't really do and doesn't cost money, but it's in the fine print, and you at their discretion. Your hands are basically tied once you sign that contract. So I personally wouldn't suggest you sending it to a distribution company. I would suggest you put it out yourself. There are some sites out there that basically tells you to, that you can make, that maybe take 10% or 5%. Find those sites. Those aren't maybe well-known sites, and they're taking just a little bit of money, but not half or all of it. Put it on those websites. The list of some below. Gumroad is one that I go through, that I got all my movies up there, and I can price them. And I think out of a $10 movie, they take $1. So that's a way, but you have to have an audience. That's the thing they're gonna tell you. You have to have an audience. Now, audience, that requires you to do a lot of promotion and pushing and footwork and a lot of things yourself. Do you have the manpower to do that? Are you willing to do that? Because it's a 9 to 5 to do that, to get an audience. But I suggest you get an audience first and then put your movie out on your own. Going through a distribution company, there's a lot of fine print stuff that you're not going to read, that they're going to basically take all your money from. Take all your money basically. However, there is some distribution companies out there that you can go through that are not they don't operate like a regular distribution company. It's basically a third party that you submit to. They take your movie and shop it around, and whoever buys it or picks it up. Of course, they take a percentage, but it's not a big percentage like a big, well-known distribution company does. One of the things I went through, one of the companies I went through is FilmHub. FilmHub is kind of well-known in the indie filmmaking world. I went through them and got my movie right on Amazon. Now, it's up to me to push it, to put it out there, to make some money. Even though Amazon going to take a lot of money from it, I really need to push it and put it out there. But that's why I go back to the importance of having an audience. Because with an audience, all you got to do is drive your audience to the platform that it's on, which you can generate the views and generate the money that your film is sitting on. So if it's Gumroad, if you have an audience, just direct your audience to them. If you have an audience of 100 people, direct your 100 people audience to them. Same thing for Amazon. Direct your audience to them where they can pay for the movie to rent it or buy it, and a percentage of the money goes to you. But you don't have to deal with contracts. You don't have to deal with fine prints. You don't have to deal with them holding your movie for 10 years if you go through places like FilmHub and I'm assuming BitMax. I'm gonna go through BitMax. I supposed to have a meeting with them, and I'm gonna see how that worked, and I'm gonna come back and let you know.